basically for the most tasks, what I found with TDD, it gives you a checklist of stuff to do.
Okay.
So you want to create a controller, then you will fill a model and it will hit the database, and then this happens and the client goes here and the output is that. When I'm writing a test, I just making that checklist. This is the first step, second step, third step, fourth step, and fifth step, and it's done. And that basically my brain is prepared to do something. So I became really fast. I think for Termwind, he already did know a lot about CLI tools, so command line applications, because he was also the guy behind that fancy output, like the collision output for Laravel, errors on terminal. So he did know a lot, but he did know the pain how to style on stuff for the terminal. That it's super difficult. That you need to know escape code, and if you need to put a color on something.
You are coming first time to India. What do you know about India, and anything special you want to do here or you want to see here?
I want to see basically something, the traffic. I know it's something that is really different, and I already went to another countries like Honduras, that's on America Central, that has like a crazy traffic also for us like Europeans. But I would love to see that, and the food. I really enjoy Indian food, and I know everything. It's spicy, even when you say it's not, it's has something in there. But I really enjoy trying different stuff and all of that. So I'm really excited.
Yeah.
For those things.
Exactly. Yeah. So you want to see the traffic in India, and traffic is really crazy. And I can warn you, don't get afraid of the traffic. Don't get afraid of getting into the local transportations. You will be safe. Nobody is going to touch you. So don't worry about that. And
I will not worry.
All Indian people, all Indian people will be there for your safety.
I know they are good drivers, way better than the European drivers. So that's for sure. They can handle a lot of things in their mind and stuff. I'm prepared.
Right. Okay. So Francisco, where are you basically from? Like which country?
I'm from Portugal. From the kind of a small village in Portugal, in the middle of Portugal, not the big city, but I went to work like 13 years ago to Lisbon, that is the capital of Portugal, and I stayed there working like for more than 10 years. And then I just came back to my village, and right now I just work remotely, basically. And that's it. And I enjoy the quiet, but sometimes I have to go to Lisbon.
Okay.
Yeah, we basically do around each 2 months we do a PHP Lisbon meetup. Me and Nuno, it's super excited as well. It's everything going well. Every meetup we are getting more people. And the community it's growing, and PHP is not dead. So as they say,
obviously. PHP is not dead. PHP is actually booming right now, I believe. With Laravel, each and every day you see some amazing things happening. Something is actually progressing with the Laravel. So that's just really cool. Okay, so Francisco, so you are from Portugal, and I did one podcast with Kaneko, and Kaneko taught me one Portuguese word, and I believe, if I remember correctly, it was saudade. So is there any word for saudade?
Saudade, yeah. It's
good.
Missing someone, basically.
Yeah. So Kaneko taught me a good word, not something bad. So similar to that, can you teach me any amazing word or funny word from your language, and then I will going to teach you one Hindi word that will be useful for you when you will be here in India very soon.
Let me think of a good word to teach you.
Yeah, you can think.
Yeah, okay. That's one. That's obrigado.
Sorry, what was that?
Obrigado.
Obrigado.
Yeah.
Obrigado.
Yeah, obrigado. That's pretty cool. Obrigado. Yeah.
Okay, so obrigado means?
Means thank you.
Oh, so obrigado. So
Yeah.
Francisco, obrigado for coming to this
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah. That's a good word to use.
Obrigado.
To use in Portugal.
So obrigado. Obrigado. How I can remember it? Like bri. So bro. Oh bro. Get do it. Oh bro, get do it. So obrigado.
Obrigado.
So I can
Yeah.
remember something like that. Obrigado. Oh bro, get do it. Okay.
Yeah. So teach me something that I can get some food or something. That's important.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
good.
That's survival.
So I taught one Hindi word to Jess, and that's like when you're hungry, you want to like you want food. So how you're going to ask in Hindi that you are hungry? So I am hungry. That means or that translate to Hindi like bhook lagi hai.
Book, lucky hai. Book,
Yeah.
lucky
So
hai.
bhook, BHOOK.
Okay.
So bhook.
Book,
Lagi hai, LAGI.
lagi.
Yeah, lagi
Book, lagi
hai,
hai.
HAI. Hai.
H-A, hi. Hey.
It's-
Okay.
Yeah.
Book, lagi, hi.
Yeah. So hi.
I'm
Yeah, you
hungry.
can call it like hi.
Yeah.
So bhook lagi hai. I am
Book,
hungry.
lagi,
I
hi.
need food.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. So you can use this word when you will be here in India. So when you are hungry, you will say that, "Hey Sarthak, bhook lagi hai." So I will like, "Oh, you are
So
hungry."
yeah, okay. Let's go. Eat something.
Great,
That's
great,
nice.
Francisco. So this was a fun element I do with all the guests so that they
Yeah.
will become comfortable. I will become comfortable. And now let's really start this thing with the one important question is like how you become a developer, or is this like always you want to do the development always from the childhood you are into the coding, or how you landed into the coding things? What was your
Yeah.
journey?
That was super funny. So when I was like 14 years old, I was super addicted to Counter-Strike. The game Counter-Strike
Counter-Strike, yeah.
1.6. I
Oh,
basically
yeah.
start around that age that the fast internet came basically to Portugal. No more those 56k routers, so modems, I would say. So the fast internet came to Portugal around that time, and I basically was super addicted to playing online Counter-Strike. I went to LAN parties and all of that stuff, and on that time for us to communicate, we used like MIRC, IRC. It's called
MIRC, what's that?
Mirk. It was a chat tool that we used on the time to basically communicate, just kind of like Slack, but
Okay. Kind of.
was a bit more old and more kind of. But I think basically Slack and Discord, I think, use that IRC principle inside. Yeah, but basically, and we basically just communicate there on, okay, we can go to this server and play once against each other, and there was some channels on there that basically gathered people, and based on skill level it will match. So right now I think that the games do that automatically and match based on those skill level. But on that time the Counter-Strike did not add that embedded. So they had these channels that basically measure your kind of level and match together with other players. So
Mm.
so you can go and play fair kind of and it be more
Exactly.
exciting. So I was on that, but on prime times, like on like 9 p.m. or something, was a lot of people trying to get in on a server with that
Mm.
system, and I never could join. So yeah, okay, I have to find a way. How can I go and write
Yes.
basically exclamation point ads enter before everyone. How can I do that? So
Mm.
I start searching and basically went start learning kind of it's Mirk script. I think it was called. It was
Oh,
the script
wow.
inside of the IRC
Uh-huh.
system. So I basically start learning how to program on that, copying stuff from one side, checking
Mm.
documentation. There was not a lot of information at the time on the internet, so I checked documentation, found another examples from other scripts and all of
Mm.
that, and basically figure out a way to basically listen for a word and write something before. So after that, I basically went first writing exclamation point ads on every game I wanted to join. So yeah, I kind of
Right.
cheated the system, the system
Mm.
on that, and basically I started liking that programming thing, and I started going to the school
Mm.
and thinking new programs. What should I make? And yeah, my passion started there, and then I years later I start. Okay, I want to build a website, so I kind of
Mm.
basically self-taught myself and I went to the uh, after my middle school.
Mm.
Yeah, I want to go for some programming teaching or something to learn more about programming, and was basically when it really started, but I already had the
So
basis.
which language you pick first?
So I picked first was basically PHP on my first language.
Okay.
Then I start learning all the language that they teach on school, Visual Basic
Mm.
and COBOL and all those old stuff
Right.
languages. Yeah, but yeah, I never understood on the beginning how the compilation process works and all of that. That was really confusing. In my free time, I invested a lot
Uh-huh.
on PHP because it basically was instant. I made a change, it works, it shows me on the browser. I basically copied the file to the FTP or something in that time, and it basically just works. And I was basically learning how to do stuff like that, and yeah. And then I got a job, a job on a advertising company, and start
Oh,
building a lot of small websites on that
right.
for small
Amazing.
campaigns, and yeah, and that basically
Yeah.
then it
Great.
took off.
Nice. So you
Yeah.
started with PHP, and how you get into Laravel, or when you get into Laravel?
So like on around like 10 years ago, I started
Oh.
learning more about frameworks, and like CodeIgniter
Mm-hmm.
was super popular at the
First
time.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously.
and I did start learning from videos from Jeffrey Way, the one and only that he
Mm.
did at the time. And after that, I start feeling okay. There is probably something better here, and I did not fall into the Laravel at first. I did go to Symphony
Yeah.
first, and then
Okay.
with more experience, I started. Okay, this feels a bit too heavy for a lot of the things that I do. So
Right.
I start following again Jeffrey Way, all of those guys, and landed on Laracas and start learning and start enjoying
Mm.
the community. That was really important, and so like on the last 4 years, 5 years, I basically turn all my side projects, all my small projects into Laravel applications, basically. Yeah, and
And this happens to
yeah,
everyone, I
yeah.
think.
And even on my client work, I'm trying to switch everything to Laravel. So yeah,
To Laravel.
yeah.
Yes, I also did this same thing. I started with the core PHP one project, then I moved that project into the Code Igniter, and after learning Laravel, I said, okay, let's move that same project to Laravel now.
Yeah.
And like when I was just moving from Code Igniter to Laravel new version came, and I said, okay, I need to start fresh for the new version because I didn't know that how to upgrade the older version to the new version. So it was like 4 times I created the website from scratch
From
in
scratch.
2 years. Yes. So it was really crazy thing, and I think that happened to everyone when
Yeah.
you start loving something, you try to move everything into that framework because that's you want you want to work on that for every project. It's really good. And I have read on your website, your personal website, that you are also like good in JavaScript things, the frameworks like Angular. I don't know about the React and Vue. So which one you like more, PHP Laravel or like JavaScript frameworks?
I really enjoy for the backend side. I really enjoy working with PHP and Laravel. I don't like working with Node.js.
You don't like?
I know a
Okay.
lot of JS because I did loads of JS when I was working in advertisement company. I did a lot of fancy things, a lot of moving parts, a lot of stuff. But
Yeah.
for the backend part, I really don't like it. I don't enjoy it. I mean, and I can be wrong on that, but I don't really enjoy working with Node.js. And I did work in some projects with it. I tried like 2 or 3 frameworks on that, but I don't think there is nothing like we have
Exactly.
in Laravel.
Yes.
So if we
Right.
go on the testing part, so yeah, I don't think there is anything that comes close
Yeah.
to
Nothing is
what we
close
have
to
for
Laravel.
yeah. We have to,
Yeah.
you need to
Exactly.
build a lot of stuff from scratch to fill your needs,
Yeah.
and that rapid development will probably go away quickly.
Now, what about like front end frameworks like React, Vue,
Yeah.
Angular?
For the front,
What's your opinion
yeah,
on that?
now when I work with Laravel projects, I'm mostly using Vue 3, but and I
Yeah.
also have a plugin for internationalization that is on my GitHub. It's becoming popular on that. Right? Because it connects the
Exactly.
translations from the backend and the front end and uses the same JSON files or the same PHP files and works both front end and back end. But
Okay.
yeah, I do work mostly with Vue when there is Laravel projects because I think it's the recommended stack, and I try to become more connected to that. But from the front end projects that I work, I enjoy React a bit more because yeah, gives a bit more freedom than the others. And I think Vue it's coming that path also with the script setup, with
With
the
the basic
composition
thing.
API. It's coming on that path. I don't know the state for Angular because I did not work with Angular like in the last 2 years. I think they changed a lot, but I
Yeah.
don't really know the state on that. Yeah.
As Angular, I think since it's being a modular framework, everything is a module. So if you feel like working in a module kind of things, that's okay with that. And also Angular is more of an enterprise level thing. Everything seems like a super professional, high level things. But with the React and Vue, it's like it feels like it's you are doing things. It's your
Yeah.
framework.
Yeah. You
So
have the
that's why,
control. Yeah.
yeah, you have full control over
Yeah.
like wherever you want, you put your file, it doesn't matter. There is a proper structure, but you can break that structure and do whatever you want. But Angular, you have to stick with one and only one rule, which is like registering things here, there. So that's
Yeah.
why in one sense it's good because when you are working in a team you need to follow a
To
rule,
have yeah.
but having one rule only for everyone, like for an individual plus for a 100 people team, it's not good. So that's why I also like React and Vue is more clear, more easy to grasp for like beginners compared to the Angular. So yeah, but once again, React and Vue both are super powerful. Okay, but I have heard or I have seen that React is way famous. Is it because the React is having a backing of Facebook only, or is it like React is really have something which is making it super popular? What do you think, like between the React and Vue?
I believe
Why
because
React is?
React was probably the first one. I think no, probably the first was Angular.
Yeah, Angular
I've
also
probably
first.
was the first, and I think React was the second, and then right after that there was React Native for the
Yeah.
applications, and they kept the exact same the exact same API, the exact same of the way to work, and and there was 100% freedom on that. I think the most experienced developers did enjoy that, and basically they start working with it. And then I think Vue on the version one was on kind of a middle, was kind of a framework to work with, connected to some kind of backend directly, some more to work on like a monolith, like we do normally
Yeah.
with Laravel
Right.
applications. I think was built for kind of that bubble. And probably on that area was when everyone was talking about microservices, all that kind of stuff, dividing everything, separating everything, and probably because of that, React got more popular than Vue. I think right now, with the hype gone around that kind of stuff, I think Vue is it's growing a bit more and it's taking more popularity to, from the
Yeah.
React people.
Yes, and with React 3, I believe it's making a great transition. Like it's competing with the React, the API
Yeah,
we have the React.
yeah,
Similar things we can do. Like in in React, you can create your own hooks,
yeah,
and similar things you can do with the Vue
yeah,
3 composition
yeah,
API. It's really great, and I
yeah,
think Vue has a bright future. Good one.
yeah,
Okay, let's move back to your work once again. You are doing Termwind.
yeah.
I'm writing. I'm saying correct. Termwind.
Termwind, yeah.
Okay. So Termwind. What is this Termwind and why it is useful and what you are doing with this? Because I have an image that Nuno first tweeted about the Termwind. So it was like his project he has created or he started it, but later on I believe you take over it. What confusion is this?
So yeah, Nuno is a guy full of ideas. I don't.
Great.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you met him already in the
I
other
have
year.
met him
Yeah,
on India on
yeah,
2019 when he came for Laravel Live
yeah,
India conference. So I met him. He's really cool person.
yeah,
Yes, as you said, full of idea. And as once he has joined the Laravel team, he just exploded with a
yeah.
lot of so
He,
amazing things.
he is. Yeah, it's a guy with loads of ideas, and he basically, when he wants to learn something, he don't want
Mhm.
to go to the documentation and read the whole thing. And okay, now I know how this
Mhm.
works. And normally
Yeah.
jumps in, opens a new project, open source project, and he
Yeah.
uses that to start learning like a new thing that happened with the OpenAI PHP client that he created.
Yes. Yes.
I think he did something for crypto as well because he wanted to learn
Mm.
about that. So these are two examples. I think for Termwind, he already did know a lot about CLI tools, so command
Mhm.
line applications, because he was
Yeah.
also the guy behind that fancy output, like the collision output for
Right.
Laravel,
Mhm.
errors on terminal. So he did know a lot, but he did know the pain how to style
Hmm.
on stuff for the terminal. That it's super difficult. That you need to know escape
Okay.
code, and if you need to put a color
Hmm.
on something, yeah, I even don't know how to calculate like a red color, how to write that in numbers. That's some weird stuff, and
Uh,
other than that, it's super hard to maintain. If you have a team that are working on something that related to the terminal, if you are working with vanilla, let's say vanilla styling for the terminal, it's not maintainable because you have a super big string and you probably can't understand nothing on that. So the idea started from Nuno. Nuno started building this thing with some method names for that basically mimic the names from Tailwind CSS. Start work like title case. Let's go with title case. So it will basically the first character will be uppercase and all the rest will be lowercase. So we started creating one method and I started seeing that on Twitter. He basically shared everything that he did on the project. Okay, let me jump, and I did not know him before. So I started, okay, this is a good project. Let me go here and see what I can contribute, because I was eager to contribute more on the open source. I did before, but was not so many contributions. So I started checking. Okay, there is a lowercase class on Tailwind that is not integrated on Termwind. I started, okay, let's add lowercase. And basically, the way Nuno built the application, the source code, the package, it's a way to basically everyone can participate. It's not super difficult, some weird kind of abstraction that nobody understands, only the owner understands. So he basically, okay, let me check how we did the title case. Okay, it's just a method on this styles class. So to do the lowercase, I just need to add a method and add a test for that. And basically, I lost like 5 minutes, and I had like a pull request on Termwind. And then Nuno accepted it. I got more excited on that. I started adding, was like lowercase. I started adding stuff like padding. I started adding all kind of so small things that we can do basically in 10 minutes or something. And like I did like 6-7 PRs on those kind of small stuff. And basically Nuno sent me a message. Do you want to be a package manager of Termwind? Do you want to help me with that? And let's that's great. So yeah, basically we went from that. We had one guy that contributed with that HTML API that we use right now. That's super familiar to everyone, but builds for the terminal. Was basically our journey, and then all of a sudden I start going to dinner with Nuno in Lisbon, and we basically and he's a great guy and a good friend of mine. So yeah, was pretty cool. So yeah, the message for the people that are listening to us is don't be afraid to contribute on a project like with a big guy like Nuno. There's nothing to be afraid.
Yeah, exactly. What I get is like Termwind is a package which you can use in your Laravel or PHP application that will going to help you to design the output of the command line with the familiar syntax of Tailwind CSS, but it doesn't have any relation with the Tailwind CSS.
No, only the class names, basically.
Only the class name, only the familiar names or the class names we have.
Yeah.
So yeah, the padding and the color,
the padding,
whatever we do.
If you want to do padding 2, it will add padding on top, bottom, P2, and right. Yeah, P2. Yeah, you get it.
Good. So that's why we have you and Nuno have the name called Termwind. So why it's term or why it's not term. Or okay, I got it. Sorry, it's for terminal term. Is it like that?
So,
terminal term. And Tailwind tail.
Yeah. The first name came from Nuno. That was tail CLI.
Tail CLI. Oh.
And then
this was the first proposed name.
Yeah, and then Kaneko went on board to do the logo and told no, that's a bad name. That's a bad name. Let's go with Termwind. Termwind makes more sense. And that's a funny story because Kaneko told me that he already started before something like Termwind, that he started working on some classes but never basically did not publish the package. So and then Nuno, without talking to Kaneko, he basically did publish the package.
Wow.
And
So
yeah,
Kaneko gave his
and
name to Nuno's package.
yeah, Kaneko, it's also a super creative guy.
Let's move to your next favorite thing, which is test-driven development. So, test-driven development, like this is the thing which made me more productive, which made me understanding Laravel or any other framework where I'm writing test in depth, and it's obviously making your application robust. So what flow you follow for TDD, the test driven development, and tell me like what is the right way of doing it?
Yeah. So for me, I don't think there is a wrong or right way to do it. To do with testing, for me, basically for the most tasks, what I found with TDD, it gives you a checklist of stuff to do.
Okay.
So yeah, you want to create a controller, then you will fill a model and it will hit the database, and then this happens and the client goes here and the output is that. When I'm writing a test, I just making that checklist. This is the first step, second step, third step, fourth step, and fifth step, and it's done. And that basically my brain is prepared to do something. So I became really fast with it. I know on the beginning I did not know the syntax, and I probably will lose some time. But for the majority of tasks, after like if you can give it like 1 or 2 weeks of probably a bit of pain, and then you will notice it that you are much faster working with tests, and it's not that painful as normally people say. And so for me, that's normally my goal and my plan. I know there are some cases that sometimes we don't know the output when we are working. We are still thinking how this will work. Some weird task, but mostly like 90% of the time we know what is the input, what is the output, and we can basically write kind of a checklist and do things faster. So normally I start going with that TDD process. That TDD process that we know. It's basically make the tests pass and then refactor. And that's normally my goal. And sometimes I even go further and write all my tests in one file and then only fill the tests after. So it can create a user, it can delete a user. I create all those tests and start going inside of them. Sometimes I do this for and send to my colleagues and check, is there any test missing on this task, and they tell me or something. Yeah, that's normally my plan on testing. And
So
I'll
you write tests before writing the app
Yeah.
applications. So
90%
you
of
write
the time.
all the test,
Yeah.
all the tests.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes,
so you
yeah.
have written you have written no logic, no test, and just the testing you have written.
Yeah.
And then you realize that okay, all seems like covered. Now let's write the real code.
Yeah. That's normally that's normally what I do. Normally, when I create a test, I start implementing. But sometimes I create like the all tests, and that's a feature that will come to PEST V2. That's the to do.
Mm-hmm.
We can mark a test to be done later.
Yeah.
So I will probably use that a lot. Yeah, since I normally
Exactly.
sometimes I write
so
all those tests, empty
your-
tests.
Your
Yeah.
approach, I believe, will be called super test driven because you're not writing one test and then writing the real code. You're writing full feature and then start writing the code. It's
Yeah.
really good. So I just want to know, like, this is really powerful thing. Test driven development, or basically writing test, is a powerful thing. So what you recommend, like for a beginner, when they should start learning about the testing? What is the right time? And what is the right time for test-driven development?
So, if they are working with Laravel, I really recommend checking out the course from Christoph. I think he will explain the bare bones of testing and all those questions that are in your mind. Why should I do testing? Because I can prove it myself with my head that this works. That's normal stuff that people ask, and sometimes they find on the internet that unit testing needs to be done on every project, and you have to be super precise, and you only have to test that specific class or something, and you can go further. And people get scared of that and don't know how to basically test. What it can improve is I just test one class and the whole feature can fail. So I think starting with a course like the one from Christoph, it's a good idea. I think also Jeffrey Way on Laracasa has a good course on that. And I think from the example of others that you know that are good developers, the guys that you trust, I think you can really learn how you should test. And normally in the most projects, I don't do a lot of unit testing. I basically in kind of the small medium projects I just basically do feature testing because that is what the user will end up using. So you want to test their output. Sometimes we have a small class that we want to prove it, like on a unit case that we want to prove it that does not change or something. But the most cases I think that's more useful to test is feature testing.
Yeah. Can you explain more like what is unit testing and what is feature testing?
So normally there is a lot of rules on unit testing, and sometimes people say unit testing it's only when you don't eat the database. Some others tell you, okay, if you are using unit testing, you just test one class. So if you have a class called car or something, you just test the car class. You don't test the streets, for example, the class streets on where the cars are. So you just test specific things on unit tests. Normally, unit testing run faster than feature test because it does not eat the database in general. It's super specific, and I'm not saying the right word, but it's close focus on just one thing instead of a broad thing like calling an endpoint, checking if the user has authorization, if the response is 200. Those kind of things normally are called feature tests or integration tests, I believe.
Okay, so what I get is like unit testing means testing a single unit of your code, and in PHP the single unit is a class. Okay, so if I am writing a test which is just going to validate the class or the functions of that class, I will call it as a unit test. But if I write test for testing the flow of the user, like if user hit the endpoint, that data will go to the controller and then model will going to store it into the database. If I have to test all this flow, this will be the feature test. Is it right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I try to share. That's great.
Yeah, good one. Yeah. So yes, but again, coming back to the same question, like when a new person should start learning about the test. So suppose I am very new to Laravel, or I am very new to even the PHP thing. I don't know fancy stuffs, MVC, the controller, or the injection container. I don't know all these things. But should I have to start learning about the testing, or should I first learn about the main picture, like how to create a normal CRUD, and then start the testing? What's your recommendation?
I do think probably they will go without testing first, because there is when we are learning something new kind of, and if you don't know a lot about programming stuff, you have to get some excitement, because there are a lot of pain probably in the beginning, just because of you miss a semicolon or something. Sometimes there is a lot of pain to figure out what it is. So if you introduce tests super early, I think it will be something that they will not fully understand, and that will be one more thing to do. That's why compiled languages like C sharp, like stuff like this, are not probably the best for a beginner,
Okay.
because you need to compile, you need to check if the compiler did not fail, and there is a lot of steps that normally the people can get frustrated about it, and move on to another thing because it's too hard.
Right.
So my first goal, if they have some kind of passion, if they want to try programming, it's to just try do it, and try the simple way, and try to find videos on the internet about it, see others doing stuff, and go really simple, and start going from where going from there. And
Okay.
yeah,
So
and
when,
then
yeah.
and only then yeah, go with a bit more experience, and starting know how databases work, how controllers work, what they are for, and all of that stuff. They can go, okay, now I want to be more serious
Yeah.
about it, and I heard about testing, so let me check this.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, good one, good one. So this is also I teach on my channel, and I say that like you don't have to worry about the testing if you are just getting started
Yeah.
with Laravel, but you need to go into testing as soon as possible. So once you get the confidence that hey, I am done with the correct thing, I know how things work, go into the testing.
Yeah.
The reason behind saying this is that when you write a single test, even it's a unit test, you get the flow how Laravel works.
Yeah.
Because you just need to first create a user using the factory, so you learn
Yeah.
about the factory.
Yeah.
So if you are running a factory, that your migration has to be correct, so you are learning about the migration. Then you are using the refreshed database if you are using the feature test. Then you hit a like post request or get request, so you learn about the routes. Maybe you use the named route. Then after that you get the response, and you get learn about the status, what
Yeah.
status you return, you have to assert that. Finally you are asserting, and so in one test you are learning 10 things.
Yeah.
So that's why I recommend to the people that hey, you need to get into the testing as soon as possible, but never start it initially, like when you don't know anything.
Yeah.
Because how do you know
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
what will be the flow of test
Yeah.
if you don't know anything?
Yeah. If you go with
So, yeah.
what is a get request? What is the
Yeah,
post request?
what is the get request?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you
Yeah.
don't know that,
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
how do you like
Yeah.
learn it? You will get like, oh, this is really great. I can't learn it. So that's not the case. You need to get into it as soon as possible, but not in the starting.
Yeah.
Right. Really, really, really great stuff, Francisco. And I'm not going to take much of your time, but just 2 or 3 like one-liners things are there. So let me know, like, which is the future technology you are excited about?
I'm really excited about. I think that's probably the answer from everyone about the ChatGPT and OpenAI stuff.
ChatGPT.
Yeah,
Right,
you have to
ChatGPT.
you have to be scared and excited at the same time. Yeah,
At the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
right now I'm doing some pull request review, some kind of code review, and I'm using that tool from Marcel. What's the diff? Yeah,
Right.
and sometimes it basically just nails it. Yeah. And
Wow.
nails
Great,
it.
great.
Yeah, and yeah, that's
So
super helpful.
what was
Sometimes
the
it's
first-
it's not that great. It's not that great, but it saves time.
Safe times.
Yeah.
So what was the first thing you searched on the ChatGPT?
What was the first thing I searched on ChatGPT?
Or I
Let
can say
me-
asked, not
Yeah.
search.
Yeah, asked. Yeah, I believe was something for my girlfriend. She was doing working on this last. I don't know the term in English. She was finishing the course, the university course, and she
Okay,
had
okay.
a big work, like like 200 pages, and I basically
Oh my god.
and basically she delivered and finished it, but I know what that was super painful, so I asked for write me a sentence about like social a social security system. So it basically nailed it. Yeah, it generates something, and I was see. If I did know that
Right.
before, you probably will save you time. Yeah, that
Yes,
was my first thing that I
exactly.
searched. Yeah,
So
I did not search anything related to code. Yeah, I don't believe so on the
oh,
first on the first thing.
that's weird. That's weird. I searched about Laravel, like how to create, how to send a email to a user who is not active in my database, and I really like blown away. Like it has pointed out each and everything. It has created the queue. It has created the user model, routing, controller, everything. Like, hey, is this like Jeffrey way? So it was really amazing. Okay, so that was a like quick question, and second was like, if not Laravel, which language you are excited about, and you feel like, okay, if somehow and if someday PHP and Laravel is not there, I will take that language.
Okay, so right now it's really popular. Rust, it's really popular,
Rust.
but it's a systems language. There is a lot of more things that you need to know about programming. It's not an high level programming language. And if I was choosing a comfortable answer, I will go with JavaScript because I already know the syntax. Yeah, and for the new languages, probably would go with Rust instead of Go. Yeah, I
Right.
do prefer more Rust more than Go.
Rust.
Yeah.
Okay. I would ask like why this is like why not go why Rust, but this is not the scope of this Laravel India podcast. We will not go into other languages more. So I just want to finish this podcast with this ending note that I really glad that you will be here because I get to know more about the Termwind and obviously my loved thing, which is test-driven development. Really great insight, Francisco, and I'm looking forward to meet you at
Yeah,
Laracon
me too.
India.
Super excited. Less than 20 days.
Yes,
Yeah.
very soon, very
Yeah,
soon.
yeah.
So we will continue the discussion of Go and Rust and there.
Yeah.
So for now, it's just a simple pause for our conversation with this Laravel India podcast. So
Yeah.
thank you, Francisco, for
Yeah.
coming and for
Yeah,
taking your time.
this was really fun. Thank you for having me.